Welcome to my journey of learning Blender. I do want to first say that I have used Blender in the past. This isn't my first time learning it. I'm not coming at it with zero experience. I've done it a few times in the past. I've gone through Blender Guru's donut tutorials before, and then a little bit more after that. But like a lot of people, I moved on to something else after I kind of got lost. Didn't know where to go. But I wanted to give it another try, and this time a little bit more seriously. I think the reason I gave it up in the past was because I didn't know what to do after the donut. But a few months ago, I came across a video by FilmStop that essentially had a brief course load of YouTube videos by category. So it had 3 main categories, which were modeling, texturing, and animating, each one with 3 levels, and then some more advanced categories after that. So I took his layout, typed it out into Notion, and sort of made a syllabus out of it. And I decided to use this to restart my learning process. My plan is to just post weekly videos, in part to hopefully keep me motivated when the excitement dies down, but also to kind of show what the progress of someone who works full-time and is in a graduate program, kind of what that progress looks like. There will be some weeks, particularly now with holidays coming up and a break in school coming up, where I'll have more time, so I'll be able to have more hours in per week, and that's one of the things I'm tracking, is how long each day I spend to Blender. But once all that passes, I'll have less time to spend on that hobby. But anyway, let's get into each day. So for day 1, I went through the first 5 videos in Blender Guru's 4.0 donut tutorial. As I went through this, many of the hotkeys started to come back to me from my previous attempts at 3D modeling. I think this is maybe my 3rd time total doing either this specific tutorial or one of his donut tutorials. Like a lot of people, I get into it, get stuck, then move on to another hobby. But to help kind of curb that, I set up 3 challenges for myself. Don't have a timeline of when to complete these, meaning like I don't have it set that after week 1, do challenge 1, after week 4, do challenge 2. The way I broke it up is for my level 1, or my phase 1 rather, which is modeling level 1, texturing level 1, and animating level 1. After each of those main sections, modeling, texturing, animating, I have a part to a challenge. So my phase 1 challenge is modeling the room or loft that my desk and office is in. So broke that up into a few parts, basic layout, modeling. I tried to model the stuff I thought I could do myself, and then used assets for some of the more complicated things like the speakers and my monitoring chair and all that. But I tried to make like my wife's chair and the futon my dog sits on. I'll get into that later in the video and show some of that. It's a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But then texturing, then I'll start to add textures. And for animating, I don't exactly know what I'm going to do for the animation, but not there yet. So day 2, where I really got into it, since it was a Saturday, one of the issues I came across was that whenever I would try to move an object on the Z-axis, it would move on the X or Y first, then snap up. Kind of just dealt with it for a little bit till finally I had enough and I Googled it, figured out I had the magnetic snapping on, and once I turned that off, it was fine. Another issue that I had, and I still don't know what I did wrong, was with making the plate. Blender Guru's tutorial where he's making the plate for the donuts. I had some weird issues with making the plate. I tended to do it myself. Couldn't quite get it, followed his tutorial, got messed up, but I just ended up deleting the plate, redoing it, and everything was fine. So I don't know what I did weird, but it kind of ended up having like a weird bevel crease at the bottom, so it was curved. I don't know if I actually added some extra vertices in there and that was messing it up. But when I did it the second time, everything is fine. So went off camera, deleted it, redid it, and it worked. So day 3, this was a pretty big day. Finished up the render for the donuts since my computer turned off during the night. Woke up in the morning, checked it, let it finish. Still had a few frames to do. I followed the last tutorial in the donut series to make the movie part. I think it turned out pretty good. By now, I definitely feel a lot of the muscle memory returning to me. I'm excited to really expand my knowledge and go past this, even though I know it will be a sharp learning curve. But this was a fantastic refresher. So I moved ahead to challenge 1, part 1, designing the loft that my computer is set up in. I'm breaking this challenge up into parts, like I said earlier, so I can keep learning with the tutorials, but also learning on my own. And I think that's the balance I still need to figure out, is going off on my own to mess up and learn, but then going to tutorials so that I'm not getting stuck and kind of losing motivation that way. So I set up the walls, then I wanted to cut out the window, Wasn't exactly sure how to do that, but I found a brief video by CG Essentials that introduced me to booleans. At least in the principle that I'm using it, pretty straightforward, easy to get. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be using booleans a lot in the future. So it's kind of nice to figure it out on my own instead of just through a tutorial, because I feel like I'll remember it better that way. Additionally, I installed the IKEA add-on since I have a few pieces of furniture from IKEA. For the Alex drawers, I just painted over the textures because I wasn't sure how to change the color of an imported asset. However, for the 8 cube organizer, I did find a video that showed me how to use a color ramp node to adjust the colors, which that ended up working pretty good. I got it pretty close to the dark brown that the real one actually is. So I left it there for now. So I wanted to learn how to model better, get started in my next set of videos. Then went into some tutorials by Polygon Runway. His one video is first 5 models in 7 minutes. This video did teach me a lot, but he moves fast, like really fast. I'm not sure if all of his tutorials are like this, but between this and the few others that I watched, they were really quick. So I had to kind of pause it, rewind it, and keep going. So even though it was a 7-minute video, it took me a lot longer to actually get through everything. But once I slowed down and paused it enough times, I was able to get through them. I'll definitely need to reference these videos again later, probably go through them a few times because he uses a lot of keyboard shortcuts and things that I don't fully understand, especially the Boolean keyboard shortcuts he was using. So I'll go back through them a few times and hopefully retain some of the information. But the finished products are really cool. I love this look of the hard surface model. So the bicycle tutorial was pretty brutal. I did about 24 minutes of the video and it took me 2 hours to get to where I did. His tutorials do go insanely fast. A lot of the comments said the same things. It seems to be he wants to push you to buy his course based on the response he left on someone's comment. I did end up learning a lot, at least on the surface level. I get this is only day 3, so not a lot is sunk in. I don't see myself intentionally going back to his videos for anything except maybe just redoing the ones I already did to learn some of the shortcuts. Maybe they'll be better for when I'm a little bit more experienced. So not totally absolute beginner friendly, but I'm happy where I got with the bicycle, and I think it was a solid way to end day 3. So day 4, I didn't get any screen recordings, but I mainly spent the day just working on the model of my room. I use this time to sort of just mess around and explore, using a mix of pre-made assets and making my own. Thought it was turning out all right, but it's only day 4. I think it would be cool to go back in a few months and remake some of the models from when I was more experienced. Other than that, I also worked on Blender Guru's texturing tutorial. It was a 2-hour tutorial, so it took a while to get through, but it was extremely well done. Learned a lot about the shading tab and using the nodes and how the different things work for modeling textures and editing textures that you import. But for day 5, I started up by finishing Blender Guru's texturing tutorial. It's a great tutorial, again, but it was a lot to ingest. In the future, I'll have to go back with a different texture, go back to that video and use some of the principles to hopefully take that and apply it to a different texture and still learn something. Next, I went into Ryan King Art's tutorial for making procedural worn paint. This is on like a metal material. Definitely recommend going through all of Blender Guru's 2-hour tutorial before getting into this one. Ryan King moves quick, so understanding what each node does because of the Blender Guru video helped a lot. I was able to, in some parts, even predict and know what node to use next. So it did help reinforce the previous tutorial. But again, I recommend going through Blender Guru's tutorial if you're new to texturing, because Ryan King, he doesn't spend as much time explaining what the nodes do, and he goes pretty quickly. But again, I love this tutorial, super happy with how it turned out. He has a ton of tutorials on different procedural materials, so I'm probably going to go through some of those before moving on to phase 2. I do want to figure out how to export this material so that I can apply it to any other objects. For example, for this material in particular, it'd be cool to make a Fallout-inspired scene later down the road when I'm a better modeler and have this material on hand to apply it to some of the metal. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun with texturing, and I might spend some more time on this and modeling. From what I can tell, being able to both model and texture well is the foundation of 3D art, so I definitely want to develop my skills and really focus on building a solid foundation to move on from. So again, day 6, I didn't record anything between work and spending time with my family for my birthday. I only got about 30 minutes in. In those 30 minutes, I was remaking my wife's lounge chair using booleans. Seemed pretty straightforward, but I kept having a weird clipping issue with the arms of the chair and the back of the chair. Not sure what that is yet. I'm not trying to make the chair look softer and rounder. But I did find a Donut Guru tutorial that's on making a couch. So I started going through that to apply a cloth simulation. I think I'm still going to have some messing around and editing to do to make it look more like a comfortable chair than just a hard modeled object. So day 7 was a bit busy. The time I did get to spend, I was working on my wife's chair using Blender Guru's cloth simulation tutorial to try to work on the little futon that I have next to the chair that my dog sits out and looks out the back window. Definitely is one thing to follow a tutorial and another thing trying to do it on my own. I do think there is a mixture of both that's needed in order to improve. I think at this stage I still need more tutorials because I'm still learning the basics, and I just don't know much yet, but I'm still trying to challenge myself as I go through and start to do things on my own to at least explore a bit and learn on my own. I think that's the struggle is where the learning is, and I do want to get through the last texturing tutorial that I have in my course, but part of this challenge is also screen recording, editing, recording the voiceovers, and putting the video together. So that takes up some time at the end of the week as well. So that wraps up week 1. Looking forward to moving into week 2. Going to do some more texturing tutorials and some animation tutorials and still try to work on this room. I'm not exactly sure how far I'm going to take it. I think when I get to a point where I feel that it's at my skill level currently, I'll end it there. Maybe work on a few other little projects, but I think in the future I want to go back and redo this after, a few months of practice. But thanks for watching and stay tuned for week 2.